what does a perfect attack look like? Let's try to learn that from the game of former world champion Grandmaster Ding Liren against Hans Niemann. It's a lesson in control, coordination, and the beauty of perfect execution. So Ding Liren has white pieces and Niemann is black. So the game started with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, Doro Lopez, a6, bishop a4, knight f6. This is all theory actually. Castle, bishop e7, rook e1, b5, bishop b3, castle, h3. Then in this, Niemann goes for the move bishop b7 and Ding plays d3, e6. So far it's just development is going on, and then not much is happening in the position, but that's how the nature of Roy Lopez is, slowly improving the position, and then later trying to take advantage of certain imbalances that would be created. So Ding in this position played the move a3. So c3 is also possible, but so one of the ideas of a3 is that white wants to put the knight on c3 and then maybe bring it to d5 at some point. This is just another interesting setup. And what's the idea? Because at some point knight a5 would be played. So c3, if it is there, then after knight a5 there would be bishop c2. But now that a3 is there, if knight a5, then bishop a2 can also be played. So then rook e8 gets played. So now Ding plays the move knight c3. So that was, as I mentioned, one of the reasons for playing a3 is that the knight can go to c3. So then Niemann in this position plays the move knight d4. So he's like, all right, let's try to bring some imbalance in the position. Let me centralize my knight. So in this position, Ding Liren actually plays the move knight takes e4. So he's like, so now this feels a bit of a questionable move. That why is he allowing the e5 pawn to get to d4? Why is he allowing Niemann to get to gain some space on the queen side? So his idea is that once the pawn gets from e5 to d4, now on the king side there are 3 pawns versus 4 pawns. So basically there is more potential for him to do something there. But what if, so it's the case with Niemann, so he has 5 pawns versus 4 pawns on the queen side. What if he just goes for c5, c4 and those type of ideas? But Ding knows that before Niemann is able to execute those ideas on the queen side, he will be able to do something on the king side. And how he does that is something we'll see. So first of all, he plays the move knight e2, attacking this pawn. So Niemann defends it. Then Ding plays the move knight g3. So his plan is at some point to put the knight on f5 and then increase the pressure on the king side. So now he knows that he cannot just sit still, otherwise Niemann will create activity on the queen side. So he's ready with this move knight g3, that all right, my knight might come to f5. So in this position, Niemann plays the move bishop f8. And before we go ahead and look at how Ding Liren executed his plan, so I invite you to check chessneurons.com, where you'll find daily positional puzzles with my explanation. You'll find instructive weekly videos of lots of topics as well, and there is already existing video library of more than 100 videos, and then we have discussion forum, blogs, and so many things. So in case you have not, please check out chessneurons.com today, and you can also avail 7-day free trial. Now let's continue with the game. So in this, Ding Liren played the move queen f3. So he's bringing the queen on the king side. It seems like, why did he not play knight f5? I mean, like, let's try to remain flexible. In certain cases there can be not g6 idea because knight h6 check would be there, but in certain cases maybe even bishop c8 and then this can be captured, and he can try to keep the knight over here. So in some examples he can even try to go like this. He's just trying to remain flexible, that's it. So in this position, Niemann plays the move h6. So stopping this type of ideas because the queen is on f3 now. So then Ding plays the move knight f5, just improving the knight's position. Niemann plays bishop c8. He's like, all right, at some point I might remove this knight. Ding is not worried because his control over the light squares, his control, for example, or this square, the outpost square would also increase if the light square bishop is not there. Of course, he would not have the knight, but when Niemann's knight move, that bishop also be able to get there. In some cases, he can also play a4 and try to increase the pressure on the queen side. So he's like, all right, I'll just develop my bishop to d2. So then, in this position, rook a7 gets played. And this is a really important quality of extremely strong players, that they just don't look at one side of the board. So in this position, Ding Liren plays the move a4. He's like, all right, I'm keeping an eye on the queen side as well. And he's inviting Niemann to play b4. And Niemann plays that. But now, what a4, b4 has made sure is that Niemann's activity on the queen side will be limited, because he will not be able to play c4 as effectively since the pawn is not on b5. And then, in this position, Ding Liren has made sure by playing a4 and making Niemann play b4 that he doesn't have to worry too much about the queen side. So he now makes use of the pawn on the king side by playing g4. So bishop already active, knight active, queen active, bishop active. Now it's time for the pawns to join in. So then Niemann plays the move bishop e6. He's like, all right, I'll exchange this bishop. So Ding Liren doesn't mind. He's like, no worries, you can exchange that bishop, but I'll play g5. I'm going to continue that relentless pressure on the king side. So now in this position, if something like h takes g5 happens, then bishop takes g5. Even if this bishop gets exchanged, there is king h1, there is rook g1, and that would be just too much for Niemann to handle. So in this position, after g5, he goes for the move knight d7. He's like, you want my pawn? No worries at all. I'm going to play g6. I want to kick your knight. And once the knight goes back, then I might just exchange the bishops. I might bring the knight to e5, and I'll try to restrict your activity. But Ding Liren is like, who mentioned anything about moving that knight? So he goes for the move bishop takes e6. Now, Niemann plays the move knight e5, queen g2, and then rook takes e6 in this position. The knight is not going to move. The queen is on g2. And by the way, so in this position, for that knight to move, so Niemann should have played rook takes e6, but still, Ding would not be worried, because in this position, he has this really nice move, king h2. Because if g takes f5 happens, then there is rook g1. If there is rook g6, then there is e takes f5, and the king side of Niemann quite weak. So that's why he played knight e5, centralizing the knight. There is queen g2. After rook takes e6, Ding played the move f4. He's like, all right, I don't want that knight in the center. I'll remove it by playing f4. Then Niemann plays the move knight d7. So Ding plays the move king h1. Is he making his king safe? No. He has another plan. What is that plan? We'll see. So king h7 gets played. Now, if you want, you can pause the video here and try to find what Ding Liren did. A small hint. It is connected with his last move. So he played the move rook g1. He did not play king h1 to make the king safe. He played king h1 to bring the rook on this file. He does not want to remove the knight from f5, because if this, then there is queen g8, king h6, queen h8 is just mate. So then Niemann played the move knight f6. Now he played the move knight g7. So he's like, all right, you want to remove my knight on f5? I'll do it, but then you'll have to give up your bishop for that, and your king side would get even more weaker. Then bishop takes g7 got played, and then in this position, another excellent move by Ding. He's not after the bishop. He actually played knight g7 to clear the f5 square for the pawn. He wants to play f takes g6. G takes f5 is not possible because of queen g7. So then bishop takes h6 gets played, f takes e6. Now, Niemann's king side is already weak, and now he loses material as well. Bishop takes d2. Ding is still not interested in taking this. He played the move e takes f7, threatening this. So king g7, he's still not going after the bishop. He played queen g6, king f8, and of course, he ended the game in style with the move queen g8. So if this, then another queen would be there. And if king e7 here, then this, and then there is this queen. This is just completely lost, and Niemann resigned. So this was an extremely instructive game by Ding Liren on how to slowly build up the pressure on opponent's king. First, with the use of the pieces, and second, deal with opponent's activity on the other side of the board, and then making use of the piece, clearing the square for the pieces, and then sacrificing material. So, yeah, a great game by Ding Liren. Thanks everyone for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.